to the box score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair. Murph, we've got 4 weeks in the book. The season is flying by.
We're approaching the midpoint, which technically comes next week at halftime, I guess you might say. But it's flying by like it always does.
Of course, you've got some teams that are this week starting to experience buys. Most teams have not had buys here in the first 3 weeks, so you'll see those periodically dropped in. And Justin, with our graphics, when we get to those, does a great job of letting you know what teams are playing and what are not playing. For instance, you've got a Smith County playing against Trouser County, and that's the first time since back in the old 3A 10-team region that those two teams face each other. But those region games aren't like they used to be, because you knew in week 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, you were going to have region. Now it's mix and match every way.
Here, there, and yon. And actually, there's some, even though we're that close to the middle part of the regular season, there's still a handful of teams, some in our coverage area, that have not yet played their first regional game.
Right. And that's what matters when it comes to making the playoffs. Yes, your overall record could figure in, because in case of a 3-way tie where everybody's beat everybody, Murph, overall record
comes into play. Sure does.
A determining factor. And it came into play last year, if you'll remember, in 4A, because you had Macon County, who wound up tied for first, being third, and had to go on the road to Chattanooga, where they lost.
Yeah, I think there were a couple of regions across the state. There were 3 teams tied for first place, so they had to go sometimes to the 4th or 5th tiebreaker to settle who was going to be at home and who would not.
Let's look at some stats from the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week. DeKalb County's Tigers traveled down to the Purple Tigers and played Watertown, and DeKalb County gets an impressive road win, Murphy, 20-10. You got to give Coach Strapp's team a lot of credit. Watertown's a tough place to play. It's a beautiful venue, but they always have a large crowd. And when you look at the stats, they were slightly in favor of DeKalb. There was only 1 turnover in the game. Watertown lost a fumble, but DeKalb County gets and I know they're the bigger school. When it comes to classification and attendance and stuff, but still, you got to give the Black and Gold Tigers some credit.
They did a good job. They needed a win in the worst way. They came into that game 1-2, and now DeKalb County and Watertown both 2-2 overall.
When you look though at Watertown and the things that they have been doing under Gavin Webster, I know when you look at the completion percentage, only 30%. That really needs to be, Murphy, 50 to 60% if you're going to be real effective in the passing game. Now, there's 2 things there. You got to have some guys up front that are blocking, that gives you quarterback time to throw. And then another thing is sometimes receivers drop the ball.
Yeah, they got to have the sticky fingers, right?
That is for sure. But that was our game of the week, DeKalb County and Watertown. Looking at some individual stats, Briss Trapp returns. Of course, he unfortunately was injured in the Smith County game, but has been back the last 2 weeks. He's 17 of 26, 178 yards, a touchdown, and then 13 rushes for 91 yards. Very effective, 7 yards a rush, and another touchdown. And when you look at accounting for 259 yards as a quarterback, that is a big night.
Oh, it is, and obviously makes a big difference in the ball game. But as you mentioned earlier, and we've talked about already, now the real games, the ones that really matter, are the ones on the immediate horizon, and that's where every head coach and his staff are focusing all of their interest on those games to close out the season.
Marquez Chalfon, and I think he's the guy that's been hurt. I think he was number 3. He returns, gets 7 big catches for 89 yards and a touchdown. For Watertown, Adam Cooper, 7 rushes, 115 yards, 1 reception for 7 yards. But Mr. Cooper there, very, very efficient in the run game with that many yards, Murph.
Yeah, that's about just under 15 yards a touch, and Coach Webster and his staff will take that all day long.
Right. You may ask a little bad. It's close to 17, but hey, who's counting, right?
There you go.
Caden West, 11 tackles and a sack. We see his name up there every week, Murphy, that he's had a big game defensively. And, we as sometimes TV guys or media, we probably don't recognize those defenders as much as we could, but they're very, very key, just as much as that leading ball carrier or the passer or the receiver he is in a football game.
Somebody else we're not recognizing enough, and we don't have the names of those people, but it's the stat takers,
Right.
the ones that record those numbers that allow us to pass those numbers along to our viewers, and we appreciate that, guys, very much.
I'll agree. That's kind of an unsung hero. Let's go ahead and look at the Forest at Cannon County. Forest gets the win. Cannon County was up 10-7. Forest comes back, the Rockets, and gets the win. I think that was down in Chapel Hill.
It was.
Fletcher Fields, 9 rushes for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very efficient again. We talked about that running game. And then Liam Bell, 14 rushes for 101 yards. Some guys up front had to be doing the job because all 3 touchdowns were via the rush, Murphy. And when you have 2 guys that go for over 100 in a game, some guys up front need a pat on the back.
Somebody's getting the job done in the trenches where it actually starts on every snap of the ball, and that's an impressive workload on Friday night. If you got a couple of guys that are doing that, that really makes it difficult for the defense.
For Cannon County, Kobe Miller, 8 of 20 for 130 yards. Also added a touchdown rushing as he had 30 yards there. Eli Garrett, 3 receptions for 52 yards. And then Jake Byford kicking through a 20-yard field goal. And he also made an extra point. You know, if you can kick a field goal, which a lot of teams in high school struggle with, it is key. I mean, it really is.
And the Byford kid has been pretty effective this year, pretty consistent with his kicking, and want to send kudos out too for Colby Miller. He's doing a good job running the offense. He's just a junior, and so the Lions will get to use him again next year.
Fortunately, we get to talk to Coach Matt Daniel a little bit later in the show, and we encourage you to stay tuned for that. Then we've got Smith County at Macon County, a very, very tough loss for the Owls. Macon, on the initial series of the game, drives down, gets 3 points on a field goal by Eli Gammon. I think it was 30 yards long. And then Smith County, on the very last play of the first half, gets a 37-yard field goal that was good by about a foot from the big man, Javier Gaspar. Nobody scores in the third quarter. Smith County makes a drive, 7:16 left. They drive all the way to the 2-yard line. They get a delay of game penalty. Then they get a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty because Coach Matt Dyer ran down the sideline trying to get a timeout before a play. They whistle him for a 15-yard penalty, and the Owls wind up kicking the field goal, Murphy, from the 15, which was a 32-yarder, and it was just about a foot wide right, which would have won it at the end of regulation. But then in overtime, Macon County gets the ball first. They get a field goal. They only get 3 yards. Gammon boots through the field goal from 24 yards out. Then Coach Matt Dyer has got 4th and goal at the 5, sends the field goal team on. Macon County jumps off sides. So they've got 2.5. Coach Dyer calls timeout, says, hey guys, let's go for it. They fake a run play, and they've got a wide open Hicks in the back of the end zone. But unfortunately, Riley Martin kind of was a little hesitant in getting the ball immediately. And Zach Borders comes over and gets the interception to preserve the win for Macon County, 6-3. But it was a defensive struggle. Owls did an outstanding job on the defensive side of the ball. They held Mr. Football finalist from a year ago, 17 touches for Gabe Borders for 81 yards. Of course, 87 of that came on the ground. They only had 149 yards the entire game.
Wow.
And, that kudos. But the offensive line really struggled for Smith County trying to block the Macon County front. And they blitzed from everywhere, and the Owls just had trouble with that. Riley Martin, 13 of 18, 134 yards, 30 yards rushing, and Peyton Hicks, 4 receptions, 47 yards.
I knew something was amiss when you came in this afternoon for the taping. Justin and I had to give you a sedative just to calm you down a little bit.
39 rushes for 90 yards is all Smith County had in that game, and they're usually averaging over 200 yards per game. Gordonsville at Joe Burns. Gordonsville gets the big win, 35-6. Jay Foster, a big night, 15 of 18, 227 yards, a couple of touchdowns. 2 rushes for 40 yards and a score. Jamario Williams, 10 rushes for 46 yards and a score. And then Dalton Hancock, 6 rushes, 84 yards, and a touchdown.
We may have to start calling him Mr. Foster, even though he is awfully young.
Right.
With numbers like that, he's going to get a lot of attention.
Just a sophomore. Malachi Rivera, 10 rushes, 54 yards, and a touchdown, 3 receptions for 42 yards. And Amari Colton for the Red Devils of Joe Burns High School, 15 of 24, 162 yards. An interception. He also had 11 rushes for 24 yards. We'll have a recap and a preview of the games that are coming up. As we remind you, you're watching The Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with 1 truck and a couple old barred trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for Chief Geologist, General Mine Foreman, Mine Engineer, Graduate Mining Engineer, Electrical Superintendent, Mobile Superintendent, Mine Supervisor, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to The Box Score. Justin Malden doing a great job, as always, turning on those knobs and buttons. Something you and I, Murphy, would be lost doing.
He held you down while I forced the pill down your throat, so he's doing double duty today.
Right. Murphy Fair along with Terry Collins. Let's go ahead and look at some Sonic scores of Carthage, Region 4-1A, and a little bit surprising. I talked to Mike Dickerson and Jimmy Maynard on Saturday. Clay County gets a big win, 35-13 over Monterey. Clay County had struggled early, really trying to find its identity after losing a big senior class. That's a big win for the Bulldogs.
The last couple of weeks, they've surprised me as well after that slow start they had, but it sounds like things are coming together well in Clay County.
And not so normal Red Boiling Springs, a big 42-12 win over Mount Juliet Christian.
That's pretty impressive. Mount Juliet Christian's not that bad a football team, but that's another big win for RBS.
And then Gordonsville gets the big win region-wise as they travel to Cedar Hill and beat Joe Burns 35-6. Let's go ahead and look at some more scores. Region 3-2A, Sonic and Carthage scores. Charleston County gets the big win over Republic, 48-8. East Robertson wins against Sycamore, 49-20. Westmoreland a big win over Jackson County. Of course, that is a region game. Clay County over Monterey, and then Macon County over Smith County in overtime.
That big East Robertson win setting up a huge game. Don't they play Smith County next week, or is it the week after?
It's next Friday night,
yeah.
And of course, with the Channel 30 audience and the
right.
and the hoopla surrounding that, a lot of people, Murphy, depending on what you read, some picked East Robertson, some picked Smith County in the preseason. Does that mean anything? No, but a lot of people think that's the best 2 teams in Region 3-2.
That's the way the Tennesseans put it. They actually had East Robertson first and Smith County second.
Right. Let's go ahead and look at Region 4-2A. Sonic and Carthage scores. Marion County gets a big win over Fayetteville, 21-14. Cascade, a thumping of Community, 68-0. And then Forest beats County 21-10.
Cascade's another one of those teams that started very slow, and they've been making up for it in the last couple of games.
Region 4-3A, looking at those Sonic Carthage scores. Giles County beats Lawrence County, 42-7. South Pick, a big win over Sequatchie. I thought that game, Murphy, would be closer than that. It was 29-7.
I did too. So I don't know if that was a bad night for Sequatchie or if South Pitt's starting to gel when it really counts.
Grundy County beats Tennessee Heat 37-8. Of course, Cascade over Community in DeKalb goes to Watertown and gets the big win. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4 4A scores. Sonica Carthage Upland, a big win over Livingston 35-14. Stone Memorial in a close one. You and I thought that would be an outstanding ball game, and it was. And the Panthers get the 28-26 win over White County. Cumberland County beats Pickett. Livingston, they played 2 games. They played on Friday night against Upland, and then they made about a 4.5-hour trip up into Eastern Kentucky to play Jenkins, Kentucky, against their first win of the year, 41-14. Of course, Macon wins in overtime. And then the DeKalb, as we said, over Watertown.
Now, Upperman's got to get ready for White County this week. That ought to be a dandy, too.
It definitely is. It's always a battle because those 2 teams have had some knockdown dragouts in basketball as well. Let's go look at some other notable scores. Lebanon, a big win over Cookeville. I thought that game may be a little bit closer, but give the Blue Devils a lot of credit.
I think Chuck Gentry's got to be awfully happy with his football team. They're starting to come together at the right time as well. And then this next game, Green Hill and Wilson Central, boy, that one went back and forth all night long. Could have been either one's game.
And then Blackman, 28-27 over Summit. And then Knoxville West, a big win over Maryville. Maryville continues to struggle a little bit. I know Knox West has got a good team. I don't want to take anything away from them. But when you're 6A and playing at that biggest level, Murph, we normally don't see Maryville lose those type ball games.
No, and they've lost twice this year, not only to the defending 5A state champion, but they lost to Bradley Central. And this could very well be Bradley Central's best team in a long, long time.
Got quite a bit of speed, the way I understand it, for the boys from Cleveland. Let's go ahead and look at what we've got coming up. Gordonsville travels up to Smithville to play DeKalb County. Of course, Murphy, these 2 teams used to meet all the time in preseason, and now they're on the regular season slate. And I think it's good. I know that DeKalb's 4A and Gordonsville's 1A, but I really think this will be a competitive ball game.
Oh, I think so too. I think that will be an exciting game to watch, and certainly is on my short list of where I'm going to go this week.
Of course, those 2 schools not that far apart, especially if you live in Temperance Hall.
If you're in Temperance Hall, yeah, that's right. That means you went through Hickman and all those metropolitan areas through there.
Just shoot up to Dale Ridge, and here we go. Portland at Clay County, that's a pretty long trip. Of course, both of those are tucked right on the Tennessee-Kentucky border.
Right.
So I guess they'll just be heading out Highway 52, and then when you get to Red Boiling, got to get around the lake.
It's not a whole lot closer for Red Boiling to go to Gainesboro either.
Red Boiling Springs in Jackson County. Of course, those 2 neighbor each other. When you look, you got to go down through Whitlaville to get to Jackson County High School.
We're giving everyone a geography report too,
I don't charge you anything for that. Joe Burns at East Robertson. I think the Burrows of East Robertson decided favorite in that ball game.
Oh, I would think so. Although those 2 teams, I think, have played each other a lot of times over the past. They're not that far apart.
Region 3 2A, you got Charleston County coming to Smith County in a big region game.
Big border war there. There's been a lot of love lost between those 2 over the years, but should be a dandy of a game.
So we talked about the Joe Burns East Robertson matchup, and then Monterey at Westmoreland, Murphy. That could be, not only for a playoff berth, but to keep your hopes alive for a possible hosting of a first-round playoff game.
Exactly.
When you look at Watertown, Westmoreland, when you look at Smith County, you look at East Robertson, a lot of people think that's the best 4 teams. It'll play out as the season goes along. Not that Charleston County can't snatch a playoff berth, but still, when you look, a lot of people think there's a lot of balance inside Region 3 2A.
There's a lot of balance between the 5 teams that we cover here. It's amazing how many of them play each other. I think each one has faced at least 3 of the other 4, or will by the end of the regular season.
And then Red Boiling Springs traveling up to Jackson County, and with Mr. Link at quarterback, they've got a chance. Because
that's the head coach's son, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
He's a senior this year, and he's got some outstanding weapons that also play basketball for the Bulldogs as well. Let's go ahead and look at Region 4 2A. You got Fayetteville at Cannon County. Of course, that's their Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week here on DTC Sports. You got White House Heritage, Scott Murray, former Owl, coaching them, making the trip over to Chapel Hill to play against Forest. It should be a great game. Of course, Coach Murray's son, Xavier, is the quarterback, or at least started the year at quarterback for White House Heritage. Then Sequatchie County at Marion County. That's always a battle. That's a battle in the valley.
That's almost like Smith County against Trousdale County. They've been playing each other for a long, long time.
And then Watertown at Cascade. In Region 4 3A, we've got Grundy County at Providence Christian. I guess that game may be at MTSU. It's on Thursday night, Murph. I know Providence Christian has played some home games at MTSU.
Might need to go over to Floyd Stadium and check that one out, I think.
Sequatchie County at Marion County, Watertown at Cascade, the Open Days Community, and Giles County. Let's go ahead and look at Region 4 4A, White County and Upland. And Murphy, that should be a good one. You talk about no love loss. That's kind of the way it is when you go from Sparta to the next county, Putnam County, and face off against the Bees.
That'll be one of those they call a slobber knocker, right?
That's true. Macon County is at Cumberland County. Macon County, Kyle, I talked to Kyle Shoulders after the ball game Friday night again on Saturday. He said, I have preached to my team, we got a great win in overtime, but we can't afford to let our guard down. This is a region game for us.
It is, and this may be the best Cumberland County team that they've had in 5 or 6 years.
Right. Gordonsville at DeKalb, we talked about that. Then Meigs County making a trip up to Stone Memorial, and then Pickett at Livingston. Of course, both those teams have struggled. You would think Livingston, just the sheer size, should have an advantage.
I would think so. The depth factor will take over in that one for sure.
That is for sure. We'll have an interview with the head coach from Cannon County, Coach Matt Daniel, when we return here to the box score, presented to you by our title sponsor, Carthage Safeway.
Community Wellness Clinic is a nurse practitioner-owned and operated full-service medical clinic. Our emphasis is on good health and wellness throughout every generation of your family. We strive to provide the expert quality of care that our patients deserve and expect. Along with primary care services, we also offer a full complement of urgent care services. Let us be your family's good health partner. Community Wellness Clinic in Woodbury. Phone 615-563-7515.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
And we're here with Coach Matt Daniel of the Cannon County Lions. And Coach, first of all, we appreciate you taking time. I know it's a busy day for you to be with us here on the box score.
Hey guys, no problem. Glad to be a part of your show.
Boy, man, I'll tell you what, if you ever decide to run for public office, that picture we're flashing up on the screen is the one you need to use. You look awfully sharp there, buddy.
Well, thanks, Murphy. I appreciate that.
Coach, when you look at your season, like last week, you had a lead but lost it. You played some teams close, but hadn't been able to kind of get over the hump as far as getting W's. And I know that's a concern. I know you've got some young men battling hard, but when you look, you've got, I guess, 7 days to erase it and get ready for the next opponent. Unfortunately, in basketball, you may have a game the next night where you can kind of forget about the previous game, but I know you just try to correct your mistakes and go from there.
Absolutely. Football is a physical game, and I thought Friday night's game was super physical. Forrest came out and played hard against us, and we had a couple of starters go out early in the game. And that puts pressure on you when you start to try to fill spots. One thing at Canyon County that we deal with is some depth. And when we do that, it usually means that we have two positions to fill instead of just one position to fill. And that can be difficult, but I thought our guys responded well. Unfortunately, we just didn't come out on top of that. We did lead 10-7 for a long time, and they kind of wore us down. Our defense was in position, just missed a couple of tackles and had a couple of big runs there late in the fourth quarter.
Matt, that's been one thing that's in particular been a problem for you guys is depth a little bit, just getting worn down toward the end of the ball game. You've got in the upper 30s, low 40s kids, but a lot of those kids haven't seen major varsity action to speak of, have they?
That's right. We rely on a lot of the same people on both sides of the ball. We try to give them a break on special teams. One thing that hurt us in the game against Forrest is our offense kind of struggled there in the fourth quarter, just getting some first downs. If we get some first downs, I think we keep our defense off the field. They get a little bit more time, and the guys that we are only playing one way get a little bit more of a break. And so we had to find a way to get some first downs. Just couldn't. It was hard for us to run the ball Friday night. We practice this week. We've emphasized on doing our job up front. Maybe even looked at some different personnel up front as well, just so we can get something going. Because just some first downs in the fourth quarter would have helped. They don't equal points, but they sure help stem the tide and keep their offense off the field anyway.
Coach, when you look at your region, it's kind of a new setup for you. When you look at Cascade, Fayetteville, Forrest, and Marion County, of course, all of those are right next door to Woodbury, as we all know, so your travel budget's got to be way down. But no, seriously, you're looking at a lot of different teams that maybe you've played in a non-region format before, but some new teams overall, too, that the Lions haven't faced.
Absolutely. Cascade, we've been playing for a while as a non-region game, so we've seen them in action. Fayetteville is obviously brand new, Marion's brand new, and Forrest is brand new to us. Chapel Hill's not that far away. We had a really good bunch of fans that came over to our game Friday night. I'm really appreciative of the fans coming over. Having only 4 home games this year, just because of how the scheduling worked out for us, is something that we've got to fight through. But if you look at Fayetteville, I just saw their schedule. I think they played their first 6 games on the road, and I think that's probably due to the installation of their field over there more than anything else. But it's being road warriors is part of it sometimes, and we on the field at MTSU against PCA, what a great experience that was for us to play in a stadium that size. Our fans really enjoyed the experience. Our players enjoyed the experience. PCA was a great host for that. But back to our region, yeah, it is new. Getting those early region wins is important for on down the road when it comes down to you circling a date to get in the postseason. And we want to try to take care of business against Fayetteville this week so we can go ahead and make our plans earlier than later.
Coach, you go into this week's game with 2 losses in a row. Obviously, that makes the Lions pretty hungry, but the Tigers of Fayetteville High School are even hungrier. They're 0-4 right now. Does that pose extra problems for you because they're so hungry as well?
Well, I think you look at the psyche of young men. They're sitting there 0-4. They know that we've lost our last 2, so both teams have struggled. They've played some big-time opponents in Upperman and Giles County. We know Giles well. We played them in our region the last 2 years. So they've played some really good competition. But in the mind of that young man over at Fayetteville, they're probably thinking, okay, we're 0-4 right now. Is this a chance for us to win? And we got to have the mindset of, hey, this is a chance for us to win. It doesn't matter who we're playing, if it's Fayetteville, if it's Forrest, if it's Cascade. This is a region game, and we got to go in with a solid mindset for it.
Fayetteville's a team that has had great success the last couple of years, and I know when your schedule first came out, the first thing I thought of, well, we got rid of Giles County, but we now have Fayetteville. That's not much of a swap right there.
That's right. That's when I first saw that. It's the same thing I thought about, and about the same. Giles is a little bit further, but Fayetteville's still a good haul. But luckily, they come to us this week, and we're back home for the first time in 3 weeks. So And we're looking forward to being at our place for the game this Friday.
Coach, when you look at a 5-team region, basically you got to win one region game to make the playoffs. And of course, if you do that, you're going to face some familiar foes that you've been in the district with, district or region with. When you look at it, maybe a Jackson County, a Monterey, a Smith County, a Westmoreland, teams that you're more familiar with than the teams that you're in the current region with.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons that we thought about not putting Monterey back on the schedule is we could cross with them potentially in the first round of the playoffs. So in the back of our mind, they're close. So it'd be a great opportunity for travel. And last year, first round, we're traveling all the way over to Loudon. So that's a big change up right there. So the opponents will be a lot more familiar to us than over in East Tennessee. But we've got to qualify for the playoffs first, and we've got one right in front of us on Friday night. We got to put our blinders on and make sure that we're focusing on Fayetteville, not looking at anything else right now. Might take a peek or two, but you got to focus in on who you got next on the schedule.
Coach, what's your injury situation like? I know we've had some kids out with little nicks and dings here and there in the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Everybody getting pretty well back, ready for first round play or first team play.
Well, we're still got some guys that are going to be out against Fayetteville. Some ones that started for us Friday night against Forest. They just can't get cleared until next week. So we got a couple of D linemen. I think we'll return an offensive lineman who we lost after the PCA game. He got some good news about his injury, so we're looking forward to that. We are, mid-season. It's the grind. Everybody's banged up a little bit right now. Even the guys that are 100% on the injury report list that I get from our trainer every week. So we got to find a way, and guys know that, hey, if you tap your helmet and come out, that we got to make sure that you're okay to get you right back into the game, because we don't want to give up a position or give up an opportunity because we're a little banged up. I mean, if they're hurt, we want to get them treated and taken care of. If they're injured, if they're just hurt, we want to get you back in the game as quick as possible.
Coach, when you look at having the new region opponents, I know you, like many coaches, after your first year, you get a book on somebody. And when I say that, you get used to what they're running offensively, defensively, what they're doing special teams-wise. But yet, I guess that kind of fresh white paper is all you've got on a lot of these opponents.
For sure. For the last few years, we knew what Giles was going to run on offense, defense. We knew what Cascade, Wing T, Community is going to be spread. Yeah, absolutely. Sequatchie's going to have RPO offense. We knew these things going into it. And now we're building that book, as you say, on our team against Forest. Under center, shotgun Wing T, Fayetteville spread, Cascade still Wing T. Marion County is going to be spread Wing T. So we're already starting to build that book, because we're going to get film on some of our opponents further in the season just because of the region games that we're seeing now. So you kind of build that book as you go. And this is our first film on Fayetteville, so we're really building a lot off this first couple of films that we got on them.
Coach, I know guys like you in a position like you in the head coach's slot don't want to necessarily stress this, but given the fact that 3 of your 4 regional opponents you have not yet faced, so even though you're 0-1 in the regional standings right now, it's not out of the question for Cannon County to have up not only a place in the playoffs, but a place at home in the first round.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you visiting with us. Best of luck to you and the Lions, and just good luck.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate what you guys do for high school football in our area, and thank you for promoting our team, and thank you for all that you guys do.
Always good to talk to you, Matt. Good luck this week.
All right, you guys take care.
We've been visiting with head coach Matt Daniel of the Cannon County Lions, and when we return, we'll have more of the Box Score brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Do you ever worry about the safety of your home when you leave? Or at night while you're sleeping? Then give your home a professional security makeover with help from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. There's never been a better time to get started.
Contact us and start your home's DTC Security Makeover today.
Community Wellness Clinic is a nurse practitioner-owned and operated full-service medical clinic. Our emphasis is on good health and wellness throughout every generation of your family. We strive to provide the expert quality of care that our patients deserve and expect. Along with primary care services, we also offer a full complement of urgent care services. Let us be your family's good health partner. Community Wellness Clinic in Woodbury. Phone 615-563-7515.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for chief geologist, general mine foreman, mine engineer, graduate mining engineer, electrical superintendent, mobile superintendent, mine supervisor, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway. We encourage you to go out on Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage and see Todd and Ansel. They got a great buffet for lunch, for breakfast. They've even got meat on their turntable where they cook ribs and steaks and all that. So you got supper waiting for you there, already cooked if you choose to.
And if you're a big Terry Collins fan, you can probably find him at lunchtime there on a regular basis.
That's true. I have to go by there pretty regular, so can't keep this physique without it. Looking at the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week on DTC Sports, Fayetteville coming to Woodbury, play against Cannon County. That'll be on Friday night, 6:45. Of course, our show preempts that at 6. And you can get the entire schedule at www.dtc3.tv for the entire season.
I think the Lions have a shot to get one here. A Fayetteville team that's not anything like we've seen the last couple of years. And if Cannon can avoid the mistakes that have haunted them in the first few games, I think they come away with a big win Friday.
I think this may be the first ever meeting between these two schools. I don't ever remember them playing before.
Well, Fayetteville High School is relatively new to the football scene because there was just one high school there for a long time, Lincoln County, and then they decided to reopen Fayetteville City and took a lot of athletes away from the Lincoln County team.
Of course, before it was Lincoln County High School, it was Fayetteville High School back in the, I'd say, 40s or 50s, maybe even 60s. All right, Murph, we're going to let you put your picking hat on, and we're going to let you go crazy. We're going to start with these East Tennessee picks, and we're going to give you an easy one to start with, Sequatchie at Marion.
That'll be a bloodbath. Those two teams don't like each other at all, but I think Sequatchie's probably just a notch or two better than Marion. Marion's got a much better team than they've had the last couple of years, but I think Sequatchie, despite the fact that they're going on the road, it's not that far away, and I think Sequatchie's Indians win that one.
Marion is a great place to watch a high school football
Isn't it, though? Yeah.
That and South Pitt, both. All right, we got Briarcrest at Knoxville Catholic.
I think the fact that Knoxville Catholic has co-head coaches, Steve Matthews and Philip Shadowins, and the fact that Briarcrest, that's about a 3-day trip from Memphis to Knoxville, so they may be a little road weary by the time they get to Knoxville Catholic. I've got to go with the Irish.
You got to think that, you probably drive part of the way and spend the night, or spend the night afterwards, because if not, you're going back to Memphis at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
You'll be road weary for sure.
It is a long, long trip. Of because it's 4 hours. I mean, that's probably a 6-hour trip. And then you've got Coalfield at Harriman.
Yeah, Harriman's struggling a little bit this year. Coalfield, the typical Coalfield, they're going to be in great fashion for that game. It's almost a border war for them, and I think Coalfield wins that one easily.
Let's go ahead and look at the Middle Tennessee picks. Starting out, 2 teams, Murphy, that used to the way Jackson County was, the way Red Bowling was. You think, well, not close. But I really think this will be a great ball game in Gainsborough.
I think so. A lot of it depends on how the quarterback at Red Boiling does. That he kind of makes or breaks the team as he goes. But I think Sean will do maybe a little bit better job playing at home. So I got to go with Jackson County in that one.
Then White County at Upperman, as you said, that's going to be a slaughter knocker.
I think Upperman wins that one. Although White County's still the larger school, they're both in 4A now. So this is a regional game, I think.
Correct.
And I think Upperman wins that one playing at home.
White County, the new kids on the block in that region. It's a tough region before it. It's even tougher now.
Absolutely.
With the Warriors in there, and then Gallatin at Warren County.
It's a road game for Gallatin, but I still think that my buddy Michael Straub, the first-year coach at Gallatin, they've kind of win one, lose one, but I think they'll control the line of scrimmage this week, and hopefully Coach Straub's son, Jackson, has a really good game, and then knock off Warren County.
Of course, Gallatin, McMinnville's probably about a 2-hour ride too, so
yeah, not bad.
Trip. Yeah. Let's go ahead and look at some more picks out in West Tennessee. Crockett County at Huntington.
Huntington's a real deal. They're one of my top 2 or 3 teams to make it to the 2A championship game, I think. Crockett County, a much better team than it's been the last 3 or 4 years. They've got a lot of talent, but it's young. But playing on the turf at Huntington, if you're at Huntington, that's automatically 7 points for you, and I think they'll win that one going away.
And then Haywood at Obion County.
Obion Central is undefeated after 4 weeks. It's been a long, long time since that's happened. Although Haywood's a pretty good football team, I don't think they can win even in Troy, Tennessee, where the Rebels play their home games. I think Haywood rules in that one.
Houston and Whitehaven.
Got to go with Houston. They don't have the speed maybe that Whitehaven has, but they do have some hogs up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So I think Houston may pull off the upset there.
Let's go ahead and look at some local picks. We start with a much improved Cascade team, and Watertown traveling there. If I'm not mistaken, that is a region game for both these teams, and very, very important when you look at these region games, because if you've only got 5 opponents in that region, that means you only have 4 games. So that even magnifies further just how important those are.
That is, that's right. But I think Watertown wins that one. They've just got a little more talent to choose from, and Cascade's kind of struggled this year. So I got to go with the Purple Tigers.
All right, battle in Carthage, Charleston County Yellow Jackets at the Owls.
Boy, I just, as much as I'd like to see a couple of those other games that we've already talked about, when Hartsville and Carthage get together, I mean, and the majority of those games, it hadn't been Trousdale County against Smith County, it's Hartsville and Carthage, and I think Carthage wins that one.
And I did misspeak. Watertown's 3A, Cascade, I think it's 2A. They're in there with Cannon County.
Right.
These new regions, Murph, I don't know that I'll ever get them straight.
There's a lot of change this year from last year.
Your pick on Charleston Smith?
Oh, Smith County. They're playing in the pit.
Gordonsville and DeKalb.
That'll be a good one too. One I'd like to see, but I can't watch them both. But I do think Gordonsville rules and takes a win there.
Fayetteville at Cannon.
Got to go with Cannon County. I'm in Cannon County, so you got to root for the local team, and they need a win in a big way. Fayetteville's still looking for a win as well, so I think the Cannon County Lions win that one.
Thanks to our fine sponsors, our title sponsor being Carthage Safeway. For Justin Malden and Murphy Fair, I'm Terry Collins. Good night from the Box Score.